This is Matchday Live with NordVPN. Another huge night ahead for the club. Back at Elland Road to take on an Eagles side who are flying, but after securing 5 points from the last 3 games, Daniel Farke's men will be hoping for an early Christmas present with the results tonight. All the build-up to come with Nigel, Martyn and Bridie Hannon in the studio ahead of full match commentary. It's Leeds United versus Crystal Palace.
That's an absolute belter! Tanaka! He's hit that one on the target! Viol with the header! Dominic Calvert-Lewin!
Right then, here we go with an 8 o'clock kickoff tonight, a late one Saturday evening ahead of Christmas. Bridie, Nigel, great to have you with us here in the studio. Are we feeling festive, or do we have to revisit that question in about 2 hours' time, Bridie?
Well, I'm disappointed that we're not wearing Christmas jumpers, but I am wearing something that feels a little bit festive. So, yeah, hopefully that 3 points will be the nice little Christmas present that we all need.
And you say you've gone for a kind of a dark green kind of Christmas tree sort of vibe there. Nigel, not sure if that was what you were going for, but it looks lovely. Huge game, and of course, 2 former clubs for you here. Of course, you're here with us here at Leeds United TV, but spent much of your career down at Palace as well. This is a big one tonight. Certainly feels it, and you feel that with the build-up and the crowd getting themselves into Elland Road.
Absolutely, especially at home here in front of our fans. A night game as well, leading up to Christmas. I think it's an important game. Confidence will be high given results of late. That's been really good. Even the point down at Brentford was well earned. So I think they should be full of confidence. Looking at the team that they've picked, they look as though they're going for it a little bit. Yeah,
5 points from the last 3 for Leeds United, including that win against Chelsea, that memorable comeback against Liverpool. Those were 2 unbelievable occasions here at Elland Road. Hopefully another one tonight. And then a point away on the road from a team that are really good at home against Brentford. A valuable point, but also, importantly, Bridie, it extends an unbeaten run, which can only be good for confidence.
Yeah, I think if you'd have told me at the start of the season you're going to get a point against Brentford, I would have taken it. Having said that, when you look at kind of how they've been playing this season, not quite as good as previous seasons, and when you look at the chances that we created, and I do think we had enough to win that game. But having said that, they also had a chance late on to win as well. So you could see that it's a point gained. I think I saw a clip of their changing rooms at the end, and they looked absolutely gutted to have lost that game. And I think 2 or 3 weeks before we'd have probably lost that game, but we showed really, really good resilience and that never say die attitude. And what a fantastic finish by the big man up top, Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
And in a season where the tracking is go a point a game or a little bit more if you can, that is another point on the board, Nigel. And this team walking in earlier to Elland Road, like I say, they go 3 now without defeat. And for any team in the Premier League to go 3 on the bounce and try and extend that to 4, it is good form. Yeah,
and it's an opportunity tonight. We're at home, which is nice. We've got some tough games coming up, so I think there'll be a real emphasis to try and get all 3 points tonight.
Your former club, as I mentioned, they've had quite the 18 months, haven't they? They come here in really good nick, good position in the league. Lots of fixtures, and we'll come on to that shortly. But an FA Cup or Community Shield, that is, for Crystal Palace, considering their history in terms of winning cups, it's as fruitful an 18 months as they've had, and they'll come into this flying high, full of confidence and excited to play us.
Yeah, I was really pleased for the club. It's a great old-fashioned football club, if you like, and obviously I had sort of 7.5 really nice, good seasons down there. Obviously, we got to a cup final and didn't quite get it over the line against Manchester United. So to see them win that silverware was pleasing for me.
I'm glad you brought up that final because it means I don't need to. You did it for me. Now you got in there early and previously. But just for absolute clarity, you would like to see them get hammered tonight, Nigel. That's the main thing.
Absolutely, yes. I think we need the points far more, and I think with that run of form that we're on, I think we'll get them.
I think you talked about opportunity, Rich. They've got a couple of their star players out today. Sal's on international duty. Munoz is out injured as well. And a little stat for you. They've not won 6 out of 7 games after they've played a conference game. So obviously they've just recently played, so that works in our favour, doesn't it? So I think, this is a massive opportunity to get some points on the board tonight.
Yeah, well, Leeds fans will know this game got moved and then moved again, and that was to do with the fixture congestion For the Eagles, they've got the Conference League that they're balancing with the Premier League they're doing really well in. They've got this League Cup quarter-final coming up against Arsenal. So they had to choose effectively where they wanted their 3-day gap, and they've taken 2 from about 46 hours from finishing that match to starting this one. They'll have then 3 before the Arsenal quarter-final. They've got a lot of games, really, and although it was a very changed team for that conference match in Europe, it's still a churn of fixture after fixture after fixture. We've had a bit more of a break.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for us. I think, obviously they had to bring on, their strikers. Mateta came on late, didn't he? Nketiah came on late. Mark Gahey came on late in that European Conference game. So they've had to go there, prepare themselves for another game. So mentally it's tiring. Physically probably 10, 15 minutes on the pitch wasn't too bad, but it's another game they've had to prepare for, and it's a very quick turnaround, a journey up as well. It doesn't help, so we'll be looking forward to this one.
Joe Rodon there in a snood, I did think more of him. I mean, it is cold out there tonight, but Joe Rodon, of all people, I was not expecting to see snooded up to the max there. But, it is a bitterly cold kind of traditional Christmas time fixture. Walking in here, you can see everyone sort of teeth chattering. It is cold, but under the lights tonight, Bridie, it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere once again. And, those players are going to be bang up for this come 8 o'clock.
There's something special, isn't there, about being at Elland Road, evening kick-off. I was here a few weeks ago against Chelsea, and the word I would use to describe it is electric. When these fans get behind you, they really do, almost count as an extra player on the pitch, and the players know that, and this is why we call it a fortress, and it really is. I think it's a massive opportunity tonight. Like I said, it's a great time to play them.
One change for Leeds United from the team that's got that draw down at Brentford. It's Brendan Aronson comes back into the team, and Altanaka is on the bench. Both those players who've had good impacts in, Brendan Aronson coming off the bench, particularly in that Chelsea game, set up Anton Stack, and we know what Altanaka's been doing recently. A little tweak there, Nigel, from Daniel Farker. We're not necessarily quite sure how that setup is going to look. We know that there'll be the 3 at the back as there has been, but what about the rest?
I think it's more of an attacking sort of ploy. He's at home. He wants us to be on the front foot, so he wants to get as many bodies around Calvert-Lewin as we can. We want good ball up to Dominic. Balls that he can get hold of, and then those 2 guys will be nice and close to pick off little layoffs from him, and that's probably why he's done it.
Okay, I'll tell you what, it's building here. They've gone very early. Kaiser Chiefs, I predict a riot is going, and we've still got 23 minutes until kick-off. So we've gone early here at Elland Road, but it is set to be a festive fixture that will hopefully provide some more points for Leeds United in their quest to move up the table. Let's get some thoughts from the camp. We can speak to one of the players who'll be starting, as he has every Premier League match so far this season. Here's the thoughts pre-match of Jayden Bogle.
Well, back at Elland Road, Jayden, looking forward to the challenge that lies ahead tonight?
Yeah, we're excited. Love playing at home, the atmosphere, and hopefully we can pick up a big result.
Last couple of games have been pretty good here, haven't they? You've got to keep that momentum going, I guess.
Yeah, of course. To keep that momentum going is massive, especially in this league, to pick up points, to pick up good results. So hopefully we can keep doing that again today.
You'll be well aware what you're up against, though, because Palace are great away from home, aren't they?
Yeah, fantastic side, in great form, especially away from home as well. But we've prepared well, and it's just about executing it on the pitch now.
Yeah, that word momentum, something that we were talking about, obviously the players are talking about. It makes a difference, doesn't it, when you're coming into thing with that little bit of momentum in the way that we hadn't had that before, certainly up until Manchester City, where the form was improving. And now they can come into this with the backing of the points they've picked up.
Yeah, I think we've got 6 games in 3 weeks. Granted, one of those is an FA Cup game, but it's a massive opportunity. We always say around this Christmas period, because there's so many fixtures, the league tables can change significantly. There's a chance of getting 15 points on offer, and I know we're going to touch on Calvert-Lewin, but what a time for him to come into form when we've got those run of games. So yeah, massive for him. Hopefully he'll get another goal again tonight.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You brought him up, and he is pretty much the man of the moment, isn't he? 4 games in a row in the Premier League he's scored in, and that continued. That trend against Brentford, a really important goal that he scored as well. But let's just take a look at the form that Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been in for Leeds United, because, from your marksman up front, you want goals, and that's exactly what he's doing. And Nigel, that started with, very kindly, Manchester City setting him up nicely there for his first of 4 against City.
Well, it was his turn of form, but it was also the team's turn of form, really, that second half performance there. It wasn't quite enough, obviously, to get a point, but it was really the first signs of this little run coming together. And same as anything with any striker, you get one and the confidence is up, and you tend to get more and more. So he'll be thirsty for goals again tonight, and there's nothing better for confidence than knocking it in. The last one against Brentford, obviously a great cross in and a really good striker's header.
I think it's the nature of the teams he's scored against as well. It's not just any teams in the Premier League. City, Chelsea, Liverpool, the top teams. For confidence, Bridie, it's not scoring against the teams around you, or with all respect to them. This is against some of the best defenders in the league. Yeah,
I mean, look, he's been in the Premier League 10 years or so. He brings so much experience to this team, and you can see that straight away. And like what you just mentioned, then he's playing well, the team's playing well. It's all coming nicely together. And I think what I like more than anything is his work rate and the fact that he puts himself about, and that's what Leeds fans absolutely love. They want people who's going to work hard for this team and put the bodies on the line. And I also love the fact that we've got what I would deem as an out-and-out striker who wants to take penalties, because I mean we've seen it over the years where we've had centre-halves taking him, haven't we? So it's really nice that he's obviously confident enough to step up, and I really do think he's the real deal. But I think what's pleasing is that I still feel like there's another level in him. I don't feel like we've seen the best of him yet.
Let me just ask you, there's a lot of stats knocking around at the moment. Okay, so let's just run through a few of them. 4 in 4 in the Premier League. Only 3 players before that have gone to 5. They would be Rod Wallace, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, and your ex-teammate Mark Viduka, who went 5 in a row. And he was some player, wasn't he? I know not, anyone in the squad you played in will say Mark Viduka was one heck of a player.
Yeah, back to goal, probably as good as anybody I think I've ever seen. And could take a goal. He was good with his head. He was he had a really fierce shot on him. Probably him and Jimmy probably had the 2 hardest shots that he had to face in training. Absolutely both. Well, all 3 of them great strikers.
Okay, so the other stat is, let me get this right. So it's 4 in a row at the moment. Coming into this match week, both him and Phil Foden, Manchester City obviously, had scored in 4 matches in a row. They were the only 2 players in the top 5 leagues in Europe to have done that. Man City have played today. They won 3-0. Phil Foden wasn't on the score sheet. So if Dominic Calvert-Lewin scores tonight, 5 in a row, and I'll apologise in advance, Dominic, because we're clearly putting the jinx on it, but that would make him the most informed marksman in the whole of the top leagues of Europe. That'll be quite something.
And he plays for our team at Elland Road. How special is that? I mean, what an honour it would be to witness that tonight. So yeah, DCL, if you're watching, no pressure.
Yeah, he's still got to do it though. So let's.
Well, it brings him back into the England contention as well. This sort of, scoring this amount of goals against those teams, like you said, is exactly what Thomas Tuchel will be looking for, from him. So, don't rule out a late sort of run for an England call-up with a World Cup coming up.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess potentially World Cups and tournaments around the corner can be big motivators for players, I would have thought, as well. Nigel, having played for England, when you see that on the horizon, you start to get a little bit of form. Suddenly, confidence builds, and you're like, maybe that could be something I could be involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, there was always David Seaman in the way, so that was always a problem. but for Dominic, it's Harry Kane. But all you can do is make sure that your form is good. That's the only thing you can control, and that's the important thing that you must do, is control his form. And he's on a hot streak at the moment. If he can keep that going, he'll force his way in. Okay,
well, hopefully we will witness that tonight. But we are still just over 15 minutes away from kick-off. Let's get the thoughts of our commentary team, who'll be bringing you all the action, as always, from 8 o'clock here at Elland Road. Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo.
Back home again, back under the lights again, and looking forward to another huge challenge, because Crystal Palace are going well in the league, going particularly well away from home. Start with the team news. One change.
Just one. So Tanaka drops out and Brendan Aronson comes in. I think we said during commentary at Brentford that Tanaka didn't get on the ball as much as he would have liked, didn't have the biggest of influences. Difficult as well to play Brentford away from home and the style that they play, but unfortunately he didn't grab that chance. So Aronson comes back in, yeah.
So what's the strategy this evening? What do Leeds need to do tonight?
I think what's really important is we start quickly on the front foot and don't let Crystal Palace settle. They are a good side, we know that. They've got some very good players. Mateta up top is a really awkward physical customer, but I think we deal well with that. If you look at Igor Thiago for Brentford, hardly got a kick. Jacobillo, I thought, beat him every single time. So with that physical threat, we might be able to match that, but can we then put them on the back foot and we dictate, can we control? We haven't done that very often this season. At times we have, but sometimes we have to suffer without the ball. No doubt it'll be similar, but if we can have more of the ball, maybe we can get 1 or 2 goals.
There have been thrills and spills aplenty in the last couple of home games here, haven't they? So are we anticipating something similar tonight?
Of course we are. We know it's not going to be straightforward. We know that. But what we do know, we've got a great team that are gelling together. I think they're really determined. They're together like I've not seen a group. And okay, maybe technically possibly not as good at certain teams, but together I think they certainly can be. And I think that's what's driving us on. They now have a lot of confidence. There's momentum as well. And we said right at the start of the season, what's going to be the big difference between Leeds staying up and Leeds going down? Well, it's our home form, and this is another great opportunity to get those 3 points.
And with the Christmas programme coming up and all the rest of it as well, this would be a good start, would it not?
It'd be a great start, because I'm sure, like every other fan, I'm looking at gaps below us, and 6-point gap for me feels really good at Christmas time. So if we can do that, I'll have a happy tuck into that turkey, let me tell you.
Long way to go before we can even think about turkey here, though. Big game lies ahead.
And of course, we will bring you full updates on Tony and his turkey as things develop. Stay here for any breaking news on that. He did mention about the table, and I know football players say, oh, we're just concentrating on the game we're doing, but you can't help but notice West Ham have lost today. A win tonight, Bridie, opens up a 6-point gap, which could be really significant. So whilst they might not be looking at that, we certainly are. And we're looking at this, and it almost makes tonight an even bigger opportunity, because when the teams around you are dropping points, you want to go and capitalise.
Yes, that's it. I think if West Ham had won today, it puts an extra little bit of pressure on the players, because they need to then get a result. You know, what we don't want to be is in the relegation zone over the Christmas period, do we? So yes, I think it's massive for us tonight to try and get these 3 points. Yeah,
the players looking at that result earlier today, and does that give an even extra boost when you look at those teams around you? In fact, we can go up a place above Nottingham Forest results. They're still to play, but certainly that West Ham defeat, and you think, well, let's grab this by the horns. Yeah,
definitely. You want to make that gap as big as possible. You know, if you look on the horizon, we've got some tough games. We've got Sunderland away that are doing very well. You know, we've got our friends from across the Pennines. We've got Man United at home, but and also Newcastle away and Liverpool away coming up. So you know, they're very tough games coming up. So this one at home tonight is important to try and get those 3 points.
I'm looking at the Palace players, obviously warming up on a pretty chilly Elland Road December night. They're a really good team. No, make no bones about it. You know, if you get to December the 20th and you are top of the away form table, which they are, that is quite some doing. Actually, if anything, they've dropped more points, you know, at home than they have away from home. On the road, they've been fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's the best season that they've had for some time, isn't it? And I think, you know, a lot of credit does go towards, you know, the defence in particular. You know, they're very, very strong in the air. They're fantastic at cutting out, you know, crosses and winning them aerial battles. But I think Henderson as well has had a fantastic season. I think he deserves a lot of credit in terms of his save percentage is up there with the best, isn't it?
He's good. Obviously had a big impact in those cup wins as well that they've had. So, you know, they've had a good 18 months as we discussed. In terms of defensively, they are really strong at the back. The players that they got there, we're not quite sure where. Mark Gay, there was a lot of talk about him in the summer in Liverpool, but he's still there, and they have a really good defensive setup.
Yeah, that's the rock that everything's based upon. You know, going forward, they do have a threat. You know, Matchday is good at holding the ball up, does score goals, is a threat from set pieces, as they are as a team. You know, so if they come here and score a goal, it'd be extremely difficult to come back from there. So we've got to make sure we get the first goal tonight and really put them under pressure. We seem to struggle to keep clean sheets at the moment. So, you know, to win tonight, we're going to have to, you know, score, you know, at least 2 goals. So it puts a little bit of pressure on the boys, but they've just got to go out there and start the game really, really well on the front foot, get them turned, you know, get those supporters excited tonight, and you know, hopefully go from there.
It's just you. I mean, we're having fun talking about all the goals. Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring. We scored as many as Crystal Palace, and there you are. We haven't kept a clean sheet. Or okay, since the end of August. Don't worry about it, Nigel. We're going to outscore them. It's going to be fun. It's going to be all good. But yeah, Crystal Palace have been going very well indeed. Interesting what Tony was saying there about Leeds and just a gelling of the players, and actually suddenly you found with squads, maybe just things start to click, things start to come together? Is that the kind of feeling that we've got going into this?
I feel like this season so far has been a bit of a roller coaster, and I feel like Daniel Farke also described it as that. You know, we started off pretty well, picked up a few points where we maybe shouldn't have picked up a few points, and then obviously we went on a bit of a losing streak, lost probably a little bit of belief in that, and then it looks like, you know, formations changed recently, as you know, and we're playing better football, we're creating more chances, but we're creating better quality chances as well. And also we've tightened up at the back, so you know it seems to be going really, really well at the moment, and this is why, you know, for some people this Christmas period's maybe not, you know, not good for them, but I think for us at the moment, the way in which we're playing, I want to get more games and more games, so yeah, it's positive.
Speaking of more games, you know, Crystal Palace have now played 10 more games than us this season with their involvement in various cups and conference. We won't mention our cup involvement, we'll forget about that one for now, but they've played 28, we've played 18. They've got a small squad there. Oliver Glasner, the very good job he's doing, but has openly spoken about, you know, they're kind of picking from 14 players for their starting 11. He even named his starting 11 earlier in his press conference, which is an unusual thing to do, and maybe sort of emphasising the point that he's only got what he's got. You know, at some point they're going to feel the strain. Might this be a bit of a pinch point before the January window with all these games that they've got in the Conference League and the Cup coming up on Tuesday, Nigel? Yeah,
it doesn't help, that's for sure. Yes, that's a manager hinting to his board that he needs reinforcements if ever I saw it. Yeah, no, they're doing tremendously well, but you know, in a small squad with so many games coming up, they can only do that for so long. They're going to start to tire. And it wouldn't be a shock to me to see them actually start dropping down the league a little bit. You know, come the end of this Christmas period, they might find themselves more into mid-table.
Starting tonight, hopefully. Right, okay, let's get the thoughts from the Leeds manager, Daniel Farke, who's been talking about what Christmas might be like up at the training ground. But at first, he was talking about his opposite number tonight and paying tribute to the fantastic job that Oliver Glasner's done at Crystal Palace.
Fantastic job, not just with Crystal Palace, even before in the Bundesliga for Wolfsburg and later on for Frankfurt. Quality is always defined by performance over a long-term period. This is what Oliver is delivering right now. Also, incredible job at Crystal Palace, and yeah, fantastic manager. The staff is doing Secret Santa. I'm not involved, why ever? Probably no one wants to take me, more or less, like as a Secret Santa and don't know what to buy. So they have not asked me to join, why ever? I have to speak with them. By the way, yes, of course, with the staff, it's important also like to have a Christmas meeting. Anyhow, it's good for the spirit, for the togetherness. I also expect from them so much hard work and so much dedication. It's, with all respect, not a 9-to-5 job. It's more like, if they count the hours, it's crazy what they're doing on the weekend and arriving late, midnight, after midnight, and then I expect them to be on it again the next morning. So it's important also to give something back and to enjoy it. Otherwise, they will also ask, why are we doing all this? And also for the team. So there, I don't want to get too much involved, because it's always difficult when the manager joins them anyhow. And me also too old to do this. I had also, I think it was the end of November or beginning of December, a bit like a Christmas topic anyhow and event, and they enjoyed it. It's good for the spirit. Perhaps also one reason what helped us also like to deliver such good performances over the course of the last weeks. Not too much right now, because the schedule that we have afterwards, 28th, 1st, 4th, 7th, 10th, I think we have to play so many games, so we won't do this something with the team in the next days, because obviously there's also like the family time a bit around Christmas, and there's not too much to do with it. But a few things, I think these are important also for the spirit in the club, and we have to make sure that everyone feels here at Leeds United like we are a family who stick together, and not just, okay, professional work and we come to work and have to do our job. It should feel like a family, and it actually does.
Well, Nigel, you were saying Oliver Glasner used his press conference to tell the board he wanted more players. Daniel Farke used his to tell his players he'd like more presents. It seems like Secret Santa. Come on, £10 budget. What are you getting, Daniel Farke, for a Secret Santa this year?
I'm going to go for a ruler to make sure his centre parting is absolutely perfect. I think that's probably the quickest one.
Might have a bit of change left over as well. Pocket the rest of it. Bridie, what Daniel Farke? £10 your budget, up to £10.
So I would just go to the pound shop and get 10 little presents, all for him to open, because he obviously likes to open presents. So I'd just get him just a load of tap from the pound shop.
a load of tap. Lucky Daniel Farke getting a load of tap from Bridie for Christmas. Right, it is really, you could probably see behind us, but you know, the Premier League flags are out now. The final sprinkling of water has been done on the Elland Road pitch. Daniel Farke talked in the programme here about this place being magical when it gets going. Nigel, is tonight going to be a magical night?
We hope so. I don't want to put the mockers on it and say yes. It has been, certainly over the last few weeks. It's been unbelievable here. The crowd, the noise, the performance of the players, everything's lifted, hasn't it? It's up to the players tonight to make sure they entertain and get the fans on their side.
Bridie, we can hear the noise in here, and we're supposed to be soundproofed. So the players lining up in the tunnel right now, they're gonna feel that energy before coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. The players love to play in front of these fans. We have got, I would say, the best fans in the league. I know I'm going to be biased, but, you know, like I said, it really does act as that 12th man, and sometimes you just need them, you know, the crowd just to get behind you and just, you know, give you that extra push. And, you know, I heard one of the players talking a couple of weeks ago, they were saying, you know, when you're really tired at the end of the game, you just need that extra little boost, and they almost give you a bit more energy. So, yeah, they play a huge part. OK, we are closing in rapidly. Less than 5 minutes to go until kick-off. It's time to get some score predictions from you. Then I'll leave you to Google the price of a ruler, Nigel, so you can get a nice one for Daniel Farke. How's this one going to go? We've talked about it in great detail. Crystal Palace, fantastic on the road. They don't concede many goals, but we're in a pretty good vein of form, particularly here. Scoring goals for fun. Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the verge of records. How's this one going to go? What's the score going to be? I'm
going to go 3-1 home win. I just think we're on such good form. I think Palace will be feeling a little bit sorry for themselves with the amount of games that they've played and have got coming up, and I just think it's set up perfectly for that. OK, 3-1. What about you, Bridie?
I'll go 2-1. 2-1.
OK, let's hope either. I'll take either or.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, you'll have a happy Daniel Farke whether he gets a Secret Santa or not. That's the present he's really after, and the festive treat we're all looking for tonight at Elland Road. It's a huge game. It's Leeds United taking on Crystal Palace. Let's head to the tunnel. Let's head to the gantry, and our commentary team of Leeds United TV's Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo. Enjoy the game.
So the teams are about to emerge from down below in the tunnel here at Elland Road. Ethan Ampadu, first man out for the home side. He turns immediately and waves at a couple of people in the west stand. And applause rings around the ground for the appearance of Leeds United in particular, but I guess Crystal Palace as well. And the two teams will be in their traditional colours. Leeds United all in white, Crystal Palace in the red and blue kit. And they will line up in front of us to go through the usual pre-Premier League game ritual. And Leeds United looking to just maintain the momentum of a 3-game unbeaten run. I know it doesn't sound overly dramatic, but that's Premier League life for you.